Welcome, English crafters. I'm so glad you're here with me today. Let's settle in and enjoy our story together. Simply listen and let the words carry you forward. Are you ready? Let's begin.
Maya had always been a morning person. She would wake up naturally at sunrise, feeling refreshed and ready to tackle the day. Her mind was sharp, her energy was high, and she could focus deeply on difficult tasks. But somewhere along the way, Maya had forgotten this simple truth about herself. It started when she joined a new company. Her colleagues were night owls who came alive after dark. They scheduled meetings in the late afternoon, worked late into the evening, and seemed to do their best thinking when the sun went down. Maya tried to go with the flow. She stayed late, pushed herself to be productive in the evening, and slowly began to feel like she was swimming against the current. Months passed, and Maya noticed something troubling. Her work quality was declining. She felt tired all the time. The spark of creativity that once came so naturally had dimmed. She was working harder than ever, but achieving less. It was like trying to fly with clipped wings. One autumn morning, Maya sat in her favorite coffee shop, watching the world wake up around her. The barista was humming softly as he prepared the morning rush. Early commuters walked by with purpose and energy. The morning light filtered through the windows, creating a warm, golden atmosphere. Maya realized she hadn't felt this peaceful in months. That's when she met Elena, an older woman who came to the coffee shop every morning at exactly 6:30. Elena was a freelance graphic designer who had learned something important over her 30-year career. She understood that success wasn't about forcing yourself to work against your natural rhythms. It was about dancing with them. "You know," Elena said one morning, noticing Maya's tired expression, "I used to think that being productive meant being busy all the time. I would burn the candle at both ends, trying to match other people's schedules and energy patterns. But life taught me something valuable. We all have our own seasons of productivity." Maya was curious. "What do you mean by seasons?" Elena smiled and pointed to the trees outside, their leaves turning brilliant shades of red and orange. "Look at nature. Trees don't apologize for losing their leaves in autumn. They don't try to bloom in winter. They followed their natural cycle, and because of this, they thrive. Humans have cycles too. Daily cycles, weekly cycles, even seasonal cycles. The secret to sustainable success is learning to work with these rhythms, not against them." This conversation was a wake-up call for Maya. She began to pay attention to her natural energy patterns. She noticed that her mind was clearest between 6 and 10 in the morning. This was her spring season, a time for new ideas, creative thinking, and tackling challenging projects. By afternoon, she entered her summer season, perfect for meetings, collaboration, and social tasks when her communication skills were at their peak. Evening brought her autumn season, a time for reflection, planning, and organizing. This wasn't a time for generating new ideas, but for harvesting the day's work and preparing for tomorrow. Finally, night was her winter season, a time for rest, restoration, and gentle activities that didn't require intense focus. Maya decided to take the bull by the horns and restructure her work schedule. She started coming to the office earlier, using her morning energy for deep work and creative projects. She scheduled meetings and collaborative tasks for the afternoon. She used early evening for administrative work and planning. Most importantly, she protected her night hours for rest and personal time. The changes weren't immediate, but they were profound. Maya's colleagues began to notice the improvement in her work quality. Her morning reports were more insightful. Her afternoon presentations were more engaging. She seemed more present during conversations and less stressed overall. But the real transformation went deeper than work performance. Maya began to feel like herself again. She had found her groove, that sweet spot where effort and ease came together naturally. She wasn't fighting her own nature anymore. She was flowing with it. Maya also discovered that her natural rhythms changed with the actual seasons. During winter months, she craved more rest and introspection. She used this time for learning new skills, reading, and planning long-term projects. Spring brought renewed energy and a desire to start fresh initiatives. Summer was her time for collaboration, networking, and being more socially active. Autumn naturally called for completing projects, organizing, and preparing for the quieter winter months. 1 year later, Maya was leading a team of her own, but instead of imposing her schedule on others, she encouraged each team member to discover their own natural rhythms. She learned that Tom was most creative in the late afternoon, while Sarah did her best analytical work early in the morning. By allowing people to work during their peak energy times, the entire team became more productive and satisfied. Maya's approach attracted attention from other departments. She was invited to share her insights at company meetings, and her philosophy of seasonal productivity began to spread throughout the organization. She had learned that true leadership wasn't about making everyone march to the same drumbeat. It was about creating harmony by allowing each person to contribute their unique rhythm to the collective symphony. The most beautiful part of Maya's journey was realizing that working with her natural rhythms didn't make her less ambitious or productive. Instead, it made her more sustainable and effective. She had learned to work smarter, not harder. Like a skilled sailor who uses the wind rather than fighting it, Maya had discovered how to harness her natural energy to reach her destinations more efficiently. As Maya reflected on her transformation, she understood that society often sends us mixed messages about productivity and success. We're told to rise and grind at all hours, to hustle constantly, and to burn the midnight oil in pursuit of our goals. But Maya had discovered a different path, one that honored both ambition and well-being, both achievement and sustainability. She thought about the birds she watched each morning from her coffee shop window. They didn't fly frantically in all directions. They moved with purpose, following ancient patterns of migration and rest. They knew when to soar and when to roost. They had found their rhythm and trusted it completely. Maya's story reminds us that success isn't about conforming to other people's schedules or forcing ourselves into patterns that don't fit our nature. It's about having the wisdom to recognize our own seasons, our times of growth, harvest, reflection, and rest, and the courage to honor them. When we align our goals with our natural rhythms, we don't just become more productive, we become more ourselves. The path to sustainable success isn't about flying by the seat of your pants or pushing through exhaustion. It's about understanding that we each have our own unique tempo, our own natural cycles of energy and rest. When we respect these rhythms, we can achieve our goals without sacrificing our well-being. We can be both successful and sustainable, both ambitious and at peace. Maya's journey from exhaustion to alignment shows us that sometimes the most radical thing we can do is simply pay attention to our own natural patterns and have the courage to honor them. In a world that often values speed over sustainability, Maya chose to march to the beat of her own drum, and in doing so, she discovered that her own rhythm was not just different, it was perfect for her. Let's remember a few beautiful words we heard today. A morning person is someone who feels most energetic and alert in the early hours of the day. When we tackle the day, we approach it with energy and determination. Night owls are people who are most active and productive in the evening hours. To go with the flow means to adapt easily to circumstances rather than fighting them. When we swim against the current, we work against natural forces or circumstances, making things more difficult. To fly with clipped wings means to try to succeed while being held back by limitations. Burning the candle at both ends means working so hard that you exhaust yourself. A wake-up call is an event that makes you realize you need to change something important. To take the bull by the horns means to face a difficult situation with courage and determination. When you find your groove, you discover your natural rhythm or the way of doing things that works best for you. Working smarter, not harder, means being more efficient and strategic rather than just putting in more effort. To march to the beat of your own drum means to do things your own way, following your own beliefs and values rather than conforming to others' expectations.
These words are like seeds now, planted in your mind. They'll grow in their own time, in their own way. Thank you for crafting this time with me today. Until our next story, keep growing and remember, you're doing beautifully. Take care, dear English crafters.